Hi there, and welcome to the first video on this wedding planning blog. And I'm really pleased that Zoe from Cherish Wedding Planning in Comberton, Cambridge is here with us. Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
And Zoe, can we just start off by just asking you why would I want to hire a wedding planner?
So most people start by hiring a wedding planner because they've just not got enough time.
Yeah.
Initially, they think, they'll have loads of time to organise it, and then suddenly they start and they think, no, this is going to take up a large chunk, so they
Yes.
would give us a call. Some people, right from the beginning, know that they want someone to help them, and they've budgeted for that, and they've organised, or they've, somebody else they know has had a wedding planner, and then they contact me, and they know from the beginning that they want somebody to help them. Other people start the process and then decide that they're either, as I say, running out of time, or it's getting stressful, or they don't have the ideas or know where to look for things.
Yeah.
So then they come along to someone like me and say, I've looked at some florists and I really don't know which one to choose. Could you help me with that?
Sure.
That sort
Yes.
of thing.
Okay.
So I would maybe help them with suppliers, give them references as well. People,
Right.
I don't know which one to choose, which one's the best, which one would
Yes.
work for me.
Yes.
I can also find quotes for people.
Mm-hmm.
So, that can be really time consuming, especially with the internet. It's great, but you can waste an awful lot of time on the internet Googling.
Trawling through stuff. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can sort of cut through that and give people choices. So like top 3 choices that fit their criteria for something.
And you said a moment ago that it's possible for you not to be involved in the whole thing, but you might just do certain segments. Is that the case? You don't necessarily have to be there from beginning to end, but you can help.
No, so a lot of people either come to me halfway through or once they've just started, and maybe I work for them in the beginning initially by the hour, something like that.
Okay.
They just want a few things doing, or they just want me to help find the venue. And then other people come to me at the end and say, I'm getting near the end now, I've planned this lovely wedding, but I'm worried that on the day something will go wrong. Can you just turn up and be there on the day to check everything for me? And again, we can do that. So just double checking suppliers, checking everybody knows where they're going.
Sure.
Maps, parking, all of that kind of stuff. And I specialise in marquee weddings. So there's a lot more to organise with a marquee wedding. And when you're at home, you don't want to be getting ready in the morning and then thinking, oh, I've just got to nip out because the lady's arrived with the cake. I've just got to go and let her in and show her where it's going to go. You don't want to do that.
Which actually does happen. As I think I said to you earlier, actually, I've photographed marquee weddings and arrived in the morning expecting to photograph the bride all serenely having her hair and makeup done, and actually she's laying the tables in her dressing gown in the marquee, for example. So
and sometimes that's fun, and you want to be doing that, and you want to be part of it. But it's also nice to know that there's somebody else that's there that knows what they're doing, and you can just say, I'm just going to go now and do this. Can I leave this with you, or leave you a list? Sometimes I just get a list emailed to me, and I haven't even met the couple, of things that they want double checking on the morning, so that they're not relying on their bridesmaids or their mum having to go out there and do those things for them. It's often easier just to pay for a third party just to do that for you.
And in terms of payment for it, I suppose one fear might be that it becomes incredibly expensive to have a wedding planner involved, or that you might sort of take hold of the budget and it might sort of run out of control. I imagine there are ways that you can actually save money though as well, aren't there?
Yeah, so some people would come to me and they've budgeted for that. They know I work on a fixed price, so they will know how much that's going to be. If they want the whole package, it's a fixed price, and they budget for that inside of what they plan to spend. And that's an agreed price at the beginning. Other people, I would just do small amounts, as I said, just working by the hour, or just a few hours initially, and then we see how it goes, build the relationship. If they want more, they can add it on if it's there in the budget. Sometimes, a budget that starts as one thing changes and evolves into something else. So you can say, actually, we're not going to have those things anymore, but we're going to have this instead. And you can move things around. And then, obviously, if they employ somebody like me, I would usually hope that I can make them some savings. So, it sort of swings and roundabouts. But if, like a quote for marquee companies, they're very difficult to go through. And often some of the stuff that's in there is not needed, or they can have different types of carpet. There's things with carpet where they can reuse other carpet that they've used before in areas where you don't need brand new carpet, things like that. So when you know these things, you can look for them on a quote and look through, and that will easily save the couple in the end, a few hours of payment for me, but
Yeah.
also I have links and connections with certain suppliers,
Yeah.
so I can get them discounts and things like that.
Oh,
and I'm much more able to haggle than a bride doesn't really want to be haggling over things and making decisions about you know, what type of toilet she's going to have, and doing
Yes.
you know, 5 different companies and quotes, and
Yes, yes.
you know, it's a boring job. So
yes, absolutely,
you know,
and very time consuming.
Yeah,
I actually the point
bits.
that you made about actually not being able to haggle, I think for a consumer to haggle with a supplier or a business is one thing, and you know, some people are just not happy to do that. But for another business person such as yourself to haggle with a supplier is a totally different ball game, actually. And you know, and that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do as well. I think from a supplier's point of view, you know, we sort of expect there to be a little bit of give and take, which wouldn't necessarily happen if it was just, you know, a bride and groom approaching us, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
So you talked about sort of being able to compare contracts and money saving things. What else can you do that a bride and groom, or they could possibly do, but you can do much better with your experience?
Yeah, so I would say, you know, obviously people can do it themselves, that's fine.
Yes.
But usually they find that it's helpful if they've got somebody who's on hand, like a PA type person. So they can email me at any time. They get stuck on something. They can email me and say, you know, I've got this far with this, Zoe, can you just help me with that bit of it? And it's nice that they've got somebody just for advice.
Yes,
often.
just a reassurance. Yes.
Yeah, some people, you know, say immediately, now we've spoken and we've had a meeting and I've met you, I just feel now more comfortable about the wedding anyway. You know, just happier to go ahead. So sometimes that just calms people, and means they're able to do their bit, the things that they want to enjoy. And that's what I see as my role, is that they should enjoy the planning of the wedding as much as the wedding themselves, because the planning of the wedding could take a year. So you don't
it's the process, isn't it? It's the whole thing, isn't it? It's not the day, it's the whole whole sort of period leading up to it, actually. Should be a time of excitement.
Usually make a nice relationship and a nice connection, you know, they enjoy it much more just knowing that there's somebody there. And obviously I can advise them and say, well, you know, I've worked with these people before, and give recommendations, and that's good because they've never done it before, they've never planned a wedding before, so they're nervous about, you know, paying out those deposits to companies that, you know, is a year in the future, and things like that, making those decisions. So I think it's just reassurance as well that helps them. Yes,
I can imagine a huge reassurance. And are you, apart from sort of the logistics and practical things that you've just been talking about, are you able to help and advise sort of stylistically as well, or in terms of, I don't know what they should do on the day in terms of how guests will move around and timings and things like that, presumably.
So there's obviously sort of etiquette and traditions and things like that people aren't sure about, and speeches. And people towards when it gets closer to the wedding do get very not anxious, but they do get very concerned about the timings for the day and how it's all going to work, and how long is this going to take. And I can say to them instantly, you know, this takes this long.
Longer than you think, probably. Yes.
It will definitely take longer than you think to get people to sit down at the table.
Yes.
All of those things, you know, that people haven't really thought through before. And so I can do those timelines and plans and budgets and things like that, and suggestions. And then it's entirely up to them. And also I've got some new ideas and new trends and new things that are coming up that are original, that hopefully they wouldn't have seen before at a wedding, and people like as well, some new ways of doing things and suggesting. I mean, they don't have to use them, obviously. It's exactly their wedding,
to get some sort of inspiration like that, isn't it? And just bat around some ideas with somebody of your experience, just to sort of just come up with ways of making it different, or making, you know, getting your personality into the day, I suppose. And I imagine you can help with that.
Exactly. I think that's part of my role, is just all those little touches that perhaps the bride themselves is looking at the bigger picture and doesn't have the time or the sort of the worry with the little things. But I can just, you know, just laying out certain things differently, or just putting in a few little suggestions and some of my time just to source things and get them personalised, which they wouldn't perhaps have thought of doing, really, you know, does make that wedding very special for them, you know. So the last thing I would say is that it is their wedding, and if they employ a wedding planner, their choices all the way. We don't take over, we don't make any choices for you. You know, you do the organising that you want to do, you do, and the bits that you don't want to do, let us do. So
fantastic. Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. There's loads and loads of really useful information in there. Actually, thank you very much indeed.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.